Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Berea City Council meeting, April 2nd, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that a quorum is present. This time I call on Teresa Senders to lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Teresa.
If you'll bear with me. Father God, we thank you for all the ways you bless us, and we pray that you'll be with everyone who's in the storms and keep them safe. We ask for the wisdom, for the strength, and for the courage to do what's right and good for all Berea citizens. May we act with love and for the common good, and let us be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. We thank you for everyone who works to make Berea better. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Teresa. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Jim Davis and second by Katie Startzman. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our March 19, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion to approve? By Jerry Little. Is there a second?
Second.
By Steve Cottle. Any discussion or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from March 19th, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is National Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation. And tonight I'm very happy to welcome back Victoria Binge, who's been making her rounds, or maybe we're your first stop. Or we're the first stop. But we do, each year we do a joint proclamation with County Judge Executive Reagan Taylor and Richmond Mayor Robert Blythe for this particular month. And I'll go ahead and read this joint proclamation. National Child Abuse Prevention Month will be recognized throughout the United States as well as the Commonwealth of Kentucky during the month of April. Whereas children are vital to our state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. And whereas all children deserve to have a safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities to foster their healthy growth and development. And whereas child abuse and neglect are a community's responsibility, affecting both the current and future quality of life of the community. And whereas communities that provide parents with the support and resources to ensure that all children grow to their full potential. And whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among all citizens. Now therefore we, Madison County Judge Executive Reagan Taylor, Richmond Mayor Robert Blythe, and Berea Mayor Bruce Fraley do hereby jointly proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Madison County, Kentucky, and call upon all citizens to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. And these are already signed by all three officials, and I think Victoria gets to take it with her to Richmond City Council for next week. So if you guys would like to come up, I'll present this to you. We'll do a quick photo op, and I'll give you the floor, okay? Let's get the council. Get over here.
Wasn't that nice to be called out? You don't have a choice. Cora, get in here. Cora. Yes, I do.
So as Mayor Fraley said, I'm Victoria Benge. I am the Executive Director of CASA of Madison and Clark counties, and we advocate for abused and neglected children in the community. And April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, so we are just trying to raise awareness of what is happening in our community and really just trying to spread awareness is really what we're trying to do. So on Thursday, this Thursday, the 4th, at 2 p.m., we are planting pinwheels in front of City Hall. And so I encourage everybody to come out and help us plant these pinwheels. It is 263 pinwheels that we're putting out. And that number, 263, is the number of abused and neglected children in Madison County in 2023. So that number keeps going up. So the more pinwheels we're planting, but so each pinwheel signifies a child that was abused and neglected in our community. So please just come out and help us plant these pinwheels. And thank you so much.
If people want more information about CASA, is there a website or how you do that?
So our website is madisoncasa.org, and our phone number is 859-353-8608, and our office is right on 2nd Street in Richmond. So
And I think you're always looking for volunteers, right?
always, yes. We are only serving about 30% of the kids that need us, and that's just because we don't have enough volunteers. So.
Thank you for the work that you do in the community and for all that are here to support you. And please guard that carefully
I will.
with Mayor Blythe and Judge Taylor. But thanks again for being here. We appreciate all you do for the community and for the county as a whole.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. The next item on the agenda is Resolution Number 05-2024, Chemical Stockpile Emergency Preparedness Program, CSEP Task Force. Mr. Gilbert.
I'll summarize resolution number 05-2024 by title as follows. A resolution approving and authorizing the City of Berea, Kentucky to participate in an interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of Berea, the City of Richmond, and the Madison County Fiscal Court for transitioning the current joint 911 to a county department funded by a 911 fee assessed on all property tax bills for Madison County and the Emergency Management Agency to continue as a county department to be jointly funded based on a number of public safety personnel and for the creation of a public safety advisory board and authorizing the mayor to execute all related documents.
Okay, I would request a motion to approve and adopt Resolution Number 05-2024.
So moved.
Mr. Cottle, is there a second by Teresa Centers? And without objection, I would like to recognize Rose Beverly, but before I do that, County Judge Executive, Richmond Mayor, and I, when we were looking at the, what do you do when you lose the funding that has gone into the community for 30 years, we jointly decided that we would establish a task force with representatives of all three governments. Rose Beverly and Sean Sandlin served on that for the City of Berea. You all passed a resolution allowing me to appoint them. But also there are three members of the work group from the other entities that are here today. Tim Gray, who's county chief, but also the EMA director acting. Tim, just hold your hand up. Rodney Richardson, police chief, City of Richmond, is here. It was on the task force. And also Chris Israel from Reagan staff at county government. So we recognize you all and appreciate the work that you did on this task force and appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us in support of this initiative. And without objection, before we go to discussion on the motion, I'd like to recognize Rose Beverly to give an overview. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The CSEP Task Force has put together a joint statement, and this is probably going to be read at each meeting, so I'm going to read it on behalf of the task force today. In or around September 2023, the City of Berea, Madison County, and the City of Richmond each passed a resolution to allow the mayors and the judge executive to appoint two designees to the joint post-CSEP transition task force to collaborate and identify innovative strategies, funding, and actionable recommendations for the fiscal court, the Berea City Council, and the Richmond City Commission to prepare for the loss of federal CSEP funding that has provided tools and resources to support community funding for the last 30 years. The dedicated staff members assigned to the task force include Chris Israel, Chief Information Officer, Madison County; Tim Gray, Fire Chief, Madison County; Rob Meinrich, City Manager, City of Richmond; Rodney Richardson, Police Chief, City of Richmond; Sean Sandlin, Fire Chief, City of Berea; and Rose Beverly, City Administrator, City of Berea. Additionally, Wendy Lynch, Madison County 911 Director, has served as a trusted advisor to the task force, while Pat McNeely and Brian Malinish from Mission Critical Partners serve as meeting facilitators. Since our inaugural meeting on November 7th, 2023, we have been meeting weekly to address the challenges and opportunities ahead. We are honored to represent our respective local government agencies and express our gratitude to the elected officials for entrusting us with this critical responsibility. Our primary objective is to secure funding for a system that has been historically covered by the CSEP program, ensuring ongoing access to 911 and emergency management as expected and deserved by our community members. The task force has diligently worked to develop and recommend a viable plan that our government entities can utilize to seamlessly transition from the federal funding that has been subsidizing our county for decades. When CSEP funding disappears, it creates a financial gap that we, as government entities, must find solutions to bring to ensure that our standard of service is maintained. Therefore, we urge immediate and proactive action to avoid falling behind in funding, as catching up in the government sector is notoriously challenging. We acknowledge the weight of the decisions ahead and have confidence in the commitment of our elected officials to serve the citizens diligently. Once again, thank you for entrusting us with this vital task.
Thank you, Rose. And we do have a motion on the floor and a second to approve and adopt resolution number 05-2024. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 05-2024, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries and resolution number 05-2024 is approved and adopted. Rose, thank you, and to the task force members, thanks for being here and for the work that you've done on this. You've done great work, all of you. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 10-2024, prohibition of alcohol sales on city-owned property. This is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
As ordinance number 10-2024 only amends section 56.006, section B7, I'll summarize the amended ordinance as follows. An ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, amending section 5606 B7 to the Code of Ordinances, providing for a prohibition of alcohol sales on city-owned property.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. And again, this is the first reading with the second reading that would be April the 16th, if I have my dates right. But per practice, I will open this up for discussion among the council members. Any discussion or comments on the first reading? Steve?
I really just had a question of,
Yes.
I don't remember the ordinance number. I think it was probably like 07-2024. Spent a lot of time on this. We had several work sessions. We had our alcohol administrator come here and talk to us about this. Why are we still talking about this? What's causing us to revisit something that I thought we had put to bed, of which the ordinance was only ever written so that we had a clear and concise way of handling situations like this, because we had seen that in many other cities they sort of had a general policy of how they would handle requests such as this, and many of our neighboring cities have gone in a similar manner, in that they have put a more formal process in place, but it's also gone the other direction in that, for instance, Richmond has designated a Millstone entertainment district, and so now, I guess when I got this in the packet on Friday, first time I'd heard about it, and again, for me, it frustrates me when we spend lots of time on things, come to what seemed to be a concise resolution and a agreement among the council, passed very clearly, and now we're back here at square one. So I'm confused at why we're still talking about it. And No one's really talked to me about it, so I'm asking the council as a body, why are we still talking about something that we voted on and decided 2 months ago? And again, was only brought up because we wanted to have a nice, formal, clear, if someone has a process, if someone wants to have an event on a public space, it's approved, and then they want to have a vendor who applies for the ability to sell alcohol at that, then we have a clear and concise way of doing that, which I commend. I think that is a good way to do it, so that if you turn someone down as the mayor or city administrator, that they can't say, well, you discriminated against me and didn't let me do it. Because we have a very clear process to do that. So why are we still talking about this?
Open the floor up to any comments or answers or discussion.
Why is it on the agenda?
Well, I didn't put it on the agenda, but I will say, you know, when we were going through this process, it was uncharted territory, and we did spend a lot of time on it. So now evidently somebody's got after they've thought about it, and they want to discuss it some more. That's just my opinion. So, and I think it's worth discussing.
Other comments or discussion from council members? Teresa?
I think after hearing discussions from cities like Stanford and other cities around, we have to be cognizant of risk management and what liabilities city property might be opened up to, and that's just where I am.
Other discussion from council members? Steve?
As much as I hate them, can we have another work session about this then? Because we haven't talked about this at all. We're having our first reading. Listen, I don't feel strongly one way or the other about alcohol sales. But I didn't get to vote on it either. It was voted on by the citizens, and it passed. And so it feels like I hate revisiting things, because we work hard in these work sessions, and I commend all of my fellow council members for the time that is spent and the conversations that happen, and we argue and we fight and we disagree, which is healthy and it's good. But when we make decisions, let's make decisions and let's move on to something else. So if we may, could we have another work session, because clearly we're not going to talk about it. So I'd like to make that have that conversation.
Yes, we'll be glad to schedule one between now and the next meeting. I'll get with Rose and we'll figure out a way to make that happen. But we did have an extensive work session, to your point,
And we got here.
in 2023. The original ordinance was 09-2023, so this is 10-2024. Yeah, it was back in the fall, probably October-ish, October, November. But we can do a work session. Cora Jane?
I think a lot of us, and it being first time, and it's not a thing, Steve, I don't think, on selling alcohol in the city or anything. This is what the ordinance is talking about, is city-owned property. And it's saying the city, if things happen or something happened, that the city is liable. And I think that's the key issue, the liability of it. And that's why a lot of cities don't have it. They don't permit alcohol sales on their property. Now, a venue, if you had the folk center and you're having a wedding reception, it would not alter that, because you're renting that space and you're not selling it. But it's when you just need to, I guess, maybe the work session and see some of their ordinances and things that.
That would be fine. We'll get a work session scheduled, and there's no reason we can't do that. Right. Okay. Further discussion per past practice, we open it up. Second reading scheduled for April 16th. Work session to be announced. TBA. Any further discussion, comments? Seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 11-2024, 2024 supplement to Code of Ordinances, and this is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Whereas American Legal Publishing Corporation of Cincinnati, Ohio has completed the 2024 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Berea. which supplement contains all ordinances of a general nature enacted or amended since the adoption of the last supplement in 2023. Whereas said American Legal Publishing Corporation has recommended the revision or addition of certain sections of the Code of Ordinances which are based on or make reference to sections of the Kentucky Revised Statutes. And whereas it is the intent of the City Council to accept these updated sections in accordance with the changes of the law of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Berea does hereby ordain as follows. Section 1, that the 2024 supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Berea as submitted by American Legal Publishing Corporation and as attached hereto, being the same year, is hereby adopted by reference as set out in their entirety. Section 2, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. And this is the first reading with second reading of ordinance number 11-2024, scheduled for April 16th. For past practice, we'll open the floor for discussion. Jerry?
When are we gonna have a work session on this? I can't remember seeing what the changes are gonna be. Have we have something showing us what the changes are?
I'll let Steve answer that. Steve's got his hand up.
I was just going to make the comment that this is cleaning up our current Code of Ordinances to put in anything that we've passed over the last 12 months.
Right. This is routine. We do it every year.
It's basically just we print.
This has nothing to do with planning and zoning, the things they're changing?
No, sir.
Okay, that's what I
It
was.
codifies whatever we've done for a year.
Okay.
All ordinances up to this point since the last update.
But I'm-
This is the online version when you go on the website and you can see it. American Legal does that.
But I was concerned because I think coming down the pike, we're gonna have some changes in planning and zoning.
We
I
are.
thought that was the ordinances, and I wanna look at that.
Yeah, we got, that one's the big one. That's the Land Management Development Ordinance,
okay.
and that'll take a couple of work sessions probably
Okay.
on that one, because we're talking probably hundreds of
I
pages.
understand, but
Yes, sir.
that's the one that's gonna be important.
Yes, it will.
Okay,
Thank you, Jerry. Per past practice, any further discussion from council members? Seeing none, we'll have the second reading on that at our next meeting. We'll move forward to the next item on the agenda, which is department head reports. And I'm happy to welcome back Director of Business and Tourism Development Director, Donna Angel, from an update from her department. Donna, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, City Administrator. Due to the extreme weather, I'm not going to give you a 30-minute report tonight, okay? I'm going to hit some highlights here. 'Cause we don't know what it might be when we go out of here tonight. But anyway, I have printed you a full packet over here. If you'd like, when you leave, please pick up one, because it's a great report and a lot of good stuff happened and last year for us, and I won't cover all of it just because we don't want to take all of our time. We want to get everybody home as safely as we can tonight. I will start with the business development report, and I'm just going to zip through it. Again, please email with any questions or call me if you have anything you want to talk about, because I do want to keep it short and brief for us tonight. I worked with 60 new businesses opening in 2023, 8 local manufacturing companies. We did successful hiring campaigns for, and we were so pleased that we were able to put in 580 new employees in our industrial park last year. So that was a major accomplishment for everyone. We closed out our year with 130 business inquiries about our city. We received 110 site and building visit inquiries for sale or lease properties as well. Referred 14 small business startups to local banks where we kept the financing at home here with us. Referred 4 clients to the SBDC Center for guidance on business plans. We collaborated with Berea College on 2 very successful events that they hosted as well. We collaborated with the Bluegrass Area Development District and Madison County Ignite schools here to pull off 4 fall classes for helping the industrial park to train welders and getting them ready to move into the industrial park positions that we had hired them for. We worked well with the Kentucky Chamber of the Fair Chance Recovery Program, which was quite successful on that. We've upgraded the Mady Road Industrial Park sign. If you haven't noticed, it looks very nice. We have a couple more tenants to put in there as well. We completed all new photos of the industrial park because everything we had was super old, so we were getting ready to get back into developing a new website for our industrial park as well. We remained in the top 10 cities of industrial growth across the state of Kentucky, which was fabulous. We've been up there for 4 years in a row now, so it's wonderful. Berea was voted number 6 in the nation as best small art scene town. I bring that in on the business development side just to remind us that one of the big questions today when we get clients that are looking at industrial land or corporate space, that's one of their top questions is what do we have to offer their employees as quality of life and outdoor activities. So through that, that's great. I was privileged to attend the Kentucky Aviation Career Preparation Curriculum that rolled out or will roll out this coming, I guess, August when we go back to school, when we ever go back to school. But this will be a new program that will start with the 7th graders that will go all the way through the seniors, which will allow them each year to gain credits to graduate with. And the program will cover anything from an HR level in aviation all the way to a mechanic or a pilot. So it's a great super thing that the governor has put out there for us, and we hope the schools will take great advantage of that. I'm going to stop right there, and in your report, you have a list of the businesses that were open last year along with this report here, because that would take me another 2 minutes to run through that. So I really promised Ronnie I would hurry, not Rose, you know. I'm going to move on to Berea Tourism. I really want you to understand the depth and the value of tourism and what it brings into a city and how it changes our city. So the value of a city is what we make it, you know. So it's not just tourism, but tourism is charged to make that happen for us. So 2023, I'm going to give you a recap of it. You have 8 pages in here, but I'm only going to review 4 of them for you. So I would encourage you to read them when you have time, because it is all good reports about Berea, Kentucky all the way around and the great changes that we have implemented. The 4 pages that I'm going to focus on tonight will be numbers and data driven. I have spent 2 months of researching and working with the local merchants, the restaurants, the hotels, and gas stations to get fairly good record numbers of what they as a city take in that they feel tourist driven has made that happen for them. So the first thing I want to start with tonight is our conferences that we held here in Berea at either Boone Tavern or somewhere. Most of them were Boone Tavern. But we were privileged to host 12 different conferences that came here last year. And with those 12 conferences, our cash injection into our city with food, lodging, gas, and shopping was $348,700. So one of the focuses Mayor Fraley and I talked about almost 5 years ago was making Berea a destination point where conferences were a big piece of us. Conventions could come here no matter what the size of the group is and so forth. So I think by tracking these numbers, we see how important it is to recruit other cities, counties, states to come here locally for that. So that was a great number. I was very pleased. And those are just the 12 that we tourism collaborated with. That is not everything else that came to this town. So that's just our part that we participated in and supported. On the festivals and events, I want to run through those quickly here. Again, Kentucky Educational Development Corporation. That was a state project that rolled out. That was a year-long event for us, and we'll wrap up here anytime now. That was a $250,000 injection back into our city that went into our local artists, instructors, our hotels, because those people stayed here 2 nights, gas stations, restaurants, and so forth. So that was a huge, nice piece there. We had the L&N Day Festival that brought in $5,500. Berea Volunteer Fire and Rescue Department show, $2,500. The spring Learn Shop classes, someone asked me about that earlier. That was a $7,000 investment that came into our city for the classes. The Berea Craft Festival, on everything we gathered on that, we hit $2 million that was brought into this town and spent here on 3 to 4 days of that one festival, which is amazing. Festival Learn Shops, $250,000. Berea Celtic Festival and 4 other things there, we had $50,000. Spoon Bread, $20,000. Kentucky Guild Festival and the Log House Gallery, $100,000. Shop Small Saturday is a huge, that continues to grow each year. That was $100,000 that was brought into our city. The Mayor's Merry Mingling, $35,000 there. Our festivals and our events brought into our city through tourism's partial role in playing and recruiting all of this was $2,800,000. So that is a great accomplishment. Briefly, our motor coach buses, we've been really working on that, as you know, for the last 2 or 3 years. So we have built that up to where it's a great investment for our city as well. We had overall, I'll skip some of the data there, but overall we had 4,905 visitors that came here on coach buses, 109 total coach buses that rode into our city last year. So that was amazing right there. 3,560 of those tourists stayed overnight with us in our city through the buses, with an average of 2,500 people paying $250 a single night here, or $625,000 that was brought in from our buses. Gift spending throughout Old Town and other shopping areas in the city, $261,000. For a total injection motor coach of $886,000. Total revenue for the motor coach buses, festivals, events, and conferences that we held here. Tourism played a major role in promoting, marketing, and recruiting these businesses here at a total of $4,034,700. So I hope that that shows that we're out there. Tourism is really pushing to build our city to what we want it to be in all avenues, whether it be activities, it be family gatherings. We continue with, as we did tonight, talking about new things to always add to our city to build us up. So it's just amazing what we've done, and I hope you're pleased with it, because we truly are with the growth that we've had in that. The community projects that tourism supported in 2023 was $80,371. A lot of that, just about all of that, is right back into our community on projects and programs that we supported right here. So we respect and appreciate the money that comes back in, and we give back as well. Our property maintenance, tourism's property maintenance and expenses for the year, we kept up $101,700 on repairs that we had to make on properties here in our town as well. Street pole lights, we had 2 got knocked down last year, and we had to buy new pole lights. But we have a lot of things like that in your packet that I hope you really notice what all that tourism really does in your city. Our building projects going into the Berea Gallery and Event Center, previously known as the Toll Building, will be an investment of around $700,000 on a building project that we had. Our equipment purchases, we were blessed to be able to still be able to bring some things up to par. We purchased a new vehicle, an Encore, $35,000. We were able to purchase a used vehicle truck from Berea Utilities, $16,000, and we were in a position to purchase a used golf cart from Parks and Recreation. So we had purchases we were able to make of $52,000 to help us do more things in the revenue part of that. Going forward for 2024 and 2025, Everybody says you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. We love all the ideas and we appreciate greatly hearing all the different things that people want. And we keep a running notebook of all these things that people call in and want. So some of the projects that we'll finish out 24 and 25 budget, we will be starting a new sign wrap package in town. All the burgundy and yellow signs you see scattered all over town with different IDs, different directories and so forth. All of that is going to be replaced to match our new turquoise and berry colors and so forth. So we're looking at anywhere, we haven't gotten the bids all back yet, anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million on replacing 171 signs in this town to bring those up to par. We will also be wrapping up our trolley, hopefully, and getting that here in the city and up and going. We will be replacing the ceramic tile roof on the Welcome Center, the train station itself. It is a mess. So we have that project that we must take on as well for the next year. In our 5-year capital plan that we will be submitting in our budget for 24-25 this year, we have put in there, hopefully, to be able to reserve funding for renovation of the old hotel building down in Old Town itself. So, did I make my 5 minutes, Rose? Okay. I was trying to keep it short, but there's a lot of good stuff in here, so please read through it. I know Ronnie appreciates me doing that too. We're a great town. I leave you with just good things about Berea, and all the growth that we've had has been unbelievable through our industrial park, thanks to Mayor Fraley, a lot there. The Enquirer's just, my phone burns up every day. My email is loaded with inquiries about our cities and looking for land to build and to expand or grow on. So our city really continues to be a strong, healthy, viral. People want to be a part of our town no matter what it is. So we're really pleased with everything. I'll take any quick questions that anyone might have.
Questions or comments for Donna? Questions or comments from Donna? Seeing none, Donna, I'll just say thanks to you personally for the amount of energy and dedication that you put into your job. That needs to be said. And also with your staff. They do a fantastic job, and we appreciate everything that you all do.
Thank you.
Thank you for the good report. And Donna's going to email that out where everybody can get the full gist, right? I will. Thank you, Donna. Would any other department heads like to address the council? Seeing none, we'll move forward to public comments. Would any members of the public like to address the council? Any members of the public? Sir, if you'll come up, and I'm going to read this little thing that'll apply to all public comment. So if you'll give me just a second, I'll ask you to let us know your name and residence address of record for the record, okay? Public is given the opportunity to speak to the city council during public comments portion of the meeting. Any public comments exceeding 3 minutes should be scheduled as a presentation to the mayor's office. When recognized by the mayor, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Comments should be business-oriented, and we ask for no inappropriate language or name of any person individually during your comments. Sir, if you'll give us your name and your residence address of record, you have the floor.
Yes, hello, my name is Cody Crowder. I live at 128 Johnson Road off Short Line Pike. And I've got some comments about Ordinance 10-2024. I really just have to ask everyone, why are we even thinking about this? All your constituents voted last year in favor of alcohol sales. We voted to reap the benefits of that and sit and be able to have fun out in town and get a beer at festivals. This is not a new thing. We see cities all around this great commonwealth utilize public spaces and city-owned property. Whitesburg, Kentucky, where me and my partner are originally from, they have the Levitt Imp series. They have beer on public property that they do. They have West 6 come down and serve beer. Imagine that. Midway, Kentucky has the Bourbon and Blues Festival, public property, city-owned. They serve beer. We have Hazard, the Oktoberfest, North Fork Music Festival. Richmond, we know the Millstone Entertainment District. They utilize public areas just the same. I can keep going. Paducah has their own festivals. Manchester Music Festival. They utilize a public space as well. Why are we doing this? It seems like we're beating a dead horse. over and over again. It's like you all are fighting your constituents who voted to reap the benefits of alcohol sales, whether that be a bar out in town or just at a public space that the city owns. I know we talked about risk management, but all these cities have been doing this for some time. I think we can take into consideration of how they have done this with their standard operating procedures and their ordinances. I just leave you with this. Think about the constituents who voted for alcohol, and when it comes time for re-election, think about that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Would any other members of the public like to address the council? Mike, if you'll come on up and state your name and residence address for the record, and same rules apply, sir. You have the floor.
Yeah, Mike Van Winkle, 930 Misty Drive, Berea, Kentucky. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council. I want to take the opportunity today to talk about some concerns that I have about this change to prohibition, okay? As all of the city council is probably aware, the voters in Madison County defeated prohibition by 2/3. I was here the night that the city council came down to one vote, and I believe it was you, Mr. Davis, that was the deciding vote, that there was a district or something, the paper wasn't filled out correctly, and it still became a problem there. Why? I have to agree with Mr. Crowder. Why are we back here again? The people voted for alcohol sales. If there's concern about who's going to be legally at fault if something bad happens, don't you think that should be on the event organizers? Shouldn't they have appropriate amounts of insurance? You know, if the city is gifting the time for these events, then surely the event organizers should be the one at legal jeopardy, not the city of Berea. To me, this is not a city issue at all. This is a planning issue. This is an issue, okay, does X, Y, or Z organization or X, Y, Z person have the appropriate levels of insurance? Have they put forth a plan? Is there an action plan? Is there a plan in case of an emergency? Do they have the appropriate amount of security on site? All those should be addressed, as well as, well, we're not going to sell alcohol. These people that have paid their money, spent their time, had criminal background checks, that are state licensed to conduct business here in the city of Berea should not be discriminated against because of the product that they sell. I don't care if it's hamburgers, hot dogs, or Budweiser. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other members of the council that'd like to address the council? Erica, if you'll come up and same rules apply, you have the floor.
My name is Erica Chambers. I am a business owner here in town, a photographer, and I'm a co-owner of Rebel Rebel, and I'm also on the board for First Friday Berea, which is our 10th year, and free live music. I just want to say, in regards to the alcohol sales, Mayor Fraley opened up this meeting talking about the deficit, the 30-year funding deficit that we have, or trying to raise money, and the lack of money that we don't get for funding for First Friday Berea would definitely change if we were allowed to sell alcohol during our events. You all talk about, tourism talks about the quality of life. That's the quality of life when you go out on trips, when you go on vacation, you go find the art scene, you go find the dining scene, and places to have a nice dinner. And so I just want to make it known that we're all listening and we're all paying attention, and we would really appreciate some more thought about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other members of the public like to address the council? Mary, if you'll come up, and same rules apply. If you'll state your name and residence address for the record, please.
My name is Mary Elizabeth Colmer, and I own Weaver's Bottom Craft Studio here in Old Town. And I've been on the corner for 36 years, doing about anything I want. And I was privileged enough to be one of the 12 people or organizations and people who got to paint the giant hands. And mine was entitled, "We Make You Kindly Welcome." And I chose a traditional mitten pattern from Latvia because it wouldn't have any copyright attached to it because it's traditional. And people want to see traditional art and traditional work. Well, the first thing that happened to my hand was the lawnmowers near the Artisan Center threw rocks against the back of it and chipped the paint, and water got behind it. And in the winter, it made a long channel down the back of the hand filled with ice and split the paint. There was no money to buy paint. There was no money to do the labor. So I bought paint and I stood out on the side of Jefferson Street and repaired it myself. The next thing that happened was that there was an ice storm and a pickup truck with a drunk driver jumped over the curb and ran over the hand and squashed the whole thing. Broke the fingers, broke the thumb. And then I'm not sure whether it was him or somebody else, but they cut a section this big out of the wrist so it wouldn't even stand up. And there was no money to fix it. There was no paint to fix it. There was no one to pay for my hours and labor and stuff. So one day when the lawnmower guys came by, I said, hey, you know, if word comes down that you're throwing this away, just throw it in my backyard at Weaver's Bottom Craft Studio and I'll just fix it myself again. So one day there was a knock on the door and the guy said, hey lady, where do you want this thing? And I said, bring it in here. And it came in and it had to be sent to somebody who could fix it. So I found some good old boys in the mountain that had an old barn they could wrap with plastic, and they got out blowtorches and a lot of car repair stuff, and they put the hands back on. They put reinforcement with steel on the wrist, and I put in about $10,000 worth of hourly time to repaint the whole thing because they had to sand it all down and everything. So then one day the city manager came in and said that it was illegal for me to paint the hand because it did not belong to me, it belonged to the city of Berea. And so he wanted it back. So that night I got the good old boys to come down and take it and put it in a secret place where nobody could find it. And it stayed there for a year, and then the city manager came down and gave me $3,000 to repair it. But he wouldn't give me any money for paint or my time. So I repaired it all, and they came back down and got it and put it on the street, and they put it near the music makers on North Broadway in a wind place, and they put bolts and L joints on it, and they put those right through my signature, which was a little bit disrespectful. Then it blew down and some teenagers jumped on it, and so they moved it again and they put it on a rotten tree stump.
Mary, with all due respect, we're at the 3 minutes mark, but without objection, I'll let you close.
So it lay there on the ground for about a year and a half, 2 years, and vines climbed all over it. And I've got pictures of all this. I've got photographs, and it makes a wonderful little story. And I wonder what's going to happen next. Donna was nice enough to take me up to Toll Building, and she showed me the damage this last time. And it's going to be an expensive repair. There's no way around it. And
Mary, with all due respect, our time's up on that one, but if you want to work with Donna or with Rose,
well,
our city
I wanted you
administrator,
to know about it.
you're welcome
and-
to do that, but thank
Yeah.
you for your comments.
Thank you.
Would any other members of the public like to address the council? Ma'am, if you'll come up and state your name and residence address for the record, please.
My name is Carol Van Winkle. I live at 930 Misty Drive. Thank you, Mayor Fraley and City Council, for an opportunity to speak to you today about the proposed change to the use of city property. I am very concerned about the sanctioning of legal and licensed people from conducting business on city property. One could say that this is discriminatory against those who are trying to make an honest living. Regardless of your opinion about the morality of selling alcohol or any other service or product, this is not a position that I think serves the community at large favorably. If a business person has spent their time, money, and allowed criminal background checks to be allowed legally to conduct business in Kentucky, Madison County, and more specifically, the city of Berea, just stop and think about how much loss of tax revenue this could and would add up to. People should be allowed to conduct legal business without interference or condemnation. Honestly, this is not city business because certain people or an organization want their will enforced without any legal justification. If they want to challenge the legality of business discrimination, then let them. They are the ones that are wanting to have this sanction enforced. Why should those of us that really don't care if they do or don't sell alcohol at Spoonbread Festival or Levitt Amp have our community exposed to legal jeopardy by allowing our city council to pass such a ludicrous ordinance without speaking out? If those that want to have a ban enforced have an issue, let them face the legal jeopardy. Again, this is not city business, and this is the first reading, should be the last reading of this ridiculous proposition. Finally, I would like to remind the mayor and council that legalized alcohol sales passed by 2/3 majority, and the voters will be watching very closely on how each of you vote. I guess one could say, does our city council respect the will of the voters, or do they operate under an ulterior motive that they deem best for them? I implore you to table this proposed ordinance and not revisit it because it is obviously not the will of the majority. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other members of the public like to address the council? Ma'am, if you'll come up and state your name and address for the record. And on ordinance number 10-2024, without objection, we'll close this as the last comment in opposition, but you have the floor, ma'am.
My name is Haley Howard. I also live at 128 Johnson Road off Shortline Pike. I just, again, want to talk about the prohibition and the sales on public property. From a different standpoint, I have been a bartender and a server and a manager for places that have served alcohol. And I've done that for many years. I've held a STAR certification. If none of you know what that is, that allows you to have a certification to serve alcohol. That gives you opportunity to look over the regulations on what that takes to serve alcohol and have, just that go into regulations. So again, I've done that for many years, and as my partner mentioned earlier, across the state, such as Hazard, there has been Thursdays on the Triangle, which I have served alcohol at with a business on public land. These are family-friendly events where everyone is welcome. There's music, there's food, there's drinks. You are not required to have a drink if you're there. That is an option given to you. And as a citizen of Berea, I had the option to vote on that. So I feel that vote is just going uncounted, if I'm not able to reap the benefits of the vote that I backed. So again, from a different standpoint, as a business, this certification, it allows you to serve the alcohol and know the regulations. So if you do not follow those regulations as a server, I know we've talked about how it goes on the event coordinator and the public property. This also goes on the business. Why would the business send someone who does not know how to serve alcohol, does not know how to cut someone off if they feel they have been overserved? This falls on the business as well. They can lose their license. This bartender, this server can lose their job. So why would they put themselves at risk just to go serve alcohol? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to address the council on any other topic other than con? Miss Alley, if you'll come up, you have the floor. Please state your name and residence address for the record, please.
Allie Blair, 109 Valley Street. I think y'all already know how I feel about the alcohol issue. My business, Peg and All, Rebel, we have two names basically, wear a couple different hats. I appreciated hearing the tourism report earlier, and I just thought I would let you all know what we recently found out about our programming last year. We presented in 2023 83 live music performances, 49 weeks of open mic, which are extremely well attended, probably 40 to 50 people most nights that you show up. 46 trivia games, 2 theater performances. We hosted 2 regional conference programs that happened up on Berea College. They presented their arts piece or their receptions at our spot. And then in addition to that, we presented 24 outdoor live music performances as part of Levitt AMP and First Friday on the Lot. And I did not count private meetings or grassroots organizing meetings in that space. Our business is not on the tourism website. We have asked to have a presence there at least 3 different times and have been told that there was not a category that we fit into. I have had a restaurant tax business and business license since 2014 in the city of Berea. And in addition to that, I've held an alcohol license here for the last 2 years. Next month will be 2 years. And really, I came here because I would love to pay my taxes online. I just wrote checks, and I will say the only reason why my business has an actual checkbook is to pay my city of Berea taxes. I can pay the other taxes that I need to do online and every single other expense for my business with a credit card or an ACH transfer, and I would love to figure out how to pay my city of Berea taxes that way. I pay quarterly taxes. There are multiple checks that have to be written because the last time I wrote one that included the restaurant tax and the alcohol tax, and they had to call me to come back and give them 2 new checks because they go into 2 different funds. So I would just love to be able to press a couple of buttons on my phone or from the comfort of my desk. It would mean that you all would get your taxes in a timely manner. It would mean that I, as a small business who has very slim margins in the food and beverage sector, it would help my cash flow, that when I paid the bill, the money came out of my account right then. So that's what I would love to see. And I know that there's a lot of infrastructure that has to be put into place, and there's a cost for that, but I would love to see that that is something that the business-friendly part of Berea would put forth. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public like to address the council? Shane, if you'll come on up and state your name and address for the record, sir. You have the floor.
Shane Morris, live here in Berea. Just offer maybe a alternative point of view on this subject. Thinking back to when it was first proposed here in town, the promise was that it would never be packaged liquors. You could only get, a drink there at Boone Tavern. It's logical that you get a drink at Boone Tavern. Well, and it's, I think it's pretty clear that it is quickly spinning into something far greater than what was ever promised, which is not surprising. And I would just suggest to the council that it would be perfectly in keeping to set parameters, and a parameter of no sale on city property is not extravagant, I don't think. And just because you have a wet, dry vote, that doesn't mean that you just abdicate and it just anything goes. So I appreciate your time.
Thanks, sir. Any other members of the public like to address the council? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward to the city administrator's report, and I'll recognize Rose Beverly. Rose, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight, I think this is the 3rd time that I've been able to do this here, is the City of Berea Spring Cleanup. The City of Berea and Waste Connections will hold spring cleanup within the city limits of Berea the week of April 15th to the 19th. The cleanup will coincide with your normal garbage pickup. The collection crews will remove a normal pickup truck load on your scheduled day. Items for collection must be placed at curbside by 5 a.m. on the day of your pickup. If you have bulk items other than bagged waste or dry box items to be collected, you will need to call the Waste Connections office to schedule a date. These details can contained on this sheet. are available on Facebook, in our newspaper, and our website. So if you have questions about this, please call Waste Connections at 1-877-288-2981, and that phone number is also on the flyer, which is at all those places that I just said. So, then I also want to talk tonight about some parks events. As you know, we've been trying to highlight those. We have free events to the public. And for the month of April, we have Autism Sensory Day, Saturday, April 13th, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Folk Center. Local families can meet with different groups in the community that offer programs and resources for their loved ones with autism or other sensory issues, all while the children can engage in sensory activities in a safe environment. We have the Spring Dance, Monday, April 15th, 6 to 8:30 at the Folk Center. SOKY, what does that stand for, Priscilla? Special Olympics, that's right. So I just totally drew a blank. Thank you, I'm glad you were here. The Special Olympics of Kentucky Spring Dance at the Folk Center is an informal gathering for the Special Olympics athletes. If I would have just kept reading, I would have saw that. And individuals from the community that have special needs. A night of dancing, food, and friendship. And then the spring painting, and you remember, for this one, you must pre-register with the Parks Department, but it is still free. So it's an instructor-led step-by-step painting class taught by a local artist. So I think those are 3 really great events, and appreciate all that the Parks Department does. I know they're going to be doing a lot because, as you know, that ramps down a little bit in the summer because they have a lot of other things going on. So, and the last thing that I have to talk to you about, Donna kind of touched on in her report, and I appreciate your report tonight, Donna. I love that it's putting it into perspective with the amount of money that tourism brings in. I think that's really, really important, and thank you for doing that. One of the things that tourism has been talking about doing for a while is getting a trolley. I know that you all have heard this discussion going on. In order to do that, I have something to ask of the council tonight. So, line item number 028-1000-56300 automobiles in the tourism budget, we need to ask you for an overage to go into a contract to purchase a trolley. I know that the Tourism Commission knows about this, of course. They are supporting this, and the trolley that they were originally looking at, they needed $150,000. They're wanting to buy a new trolley now, which makes a lot of sense. They've really looked into it. They put a lot of time into this. So we are asking to increase the budget line item from $150,000 to $221,000. So I just need a motion for that. And I could repeat that if you guys need it. Okay.
I'll repeat it real quick, Rose. So Rose, make sure it's a motion to approve overage in line item 028-1000-5630 in the tourism fund from $150,000 to $221,000.
56,300, but everything else was perfect.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Question.
Let's get a motion and a second on the floor, and then we can have discussion. Is there a motion? There's a motion. Is there a second? By Cora Jane. Now it's discussion. Steve.
100% funded by tourism dollars.
Yes.
Have we? I have a lot of questions, but so we go out to bid on it then, because is it a state contract?
If it's not a state contract, we'll have to put out an RFP. But it's so specialized that you put out the RFP, of course, like you would for any other thing, but then you put it out to that
So we haven't gotten
vendor. No.
Okay.
This is to enter into a contract. So we'll follow all of the state bidding, but it's a little bit different because there's not a lot of vendors. It's my understanding that there's really only 2 and they're owned by the same company. You know how that goes, so.
Other discussion on the motion. Jerry.
I've just got a question. So you raised it $75,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that won't be the only cost of this trolley. You know, somebody's got to drive it. It's got to be kept in, I would think, the dry. I mean, has everybody looked at that? Is that,
Yes.
know?
Yes, so we would need to hire an additional part-time person to drive the trolley around. We think this is really good, and I don't want to speak for you guys on this, but I know that one of the things that we hear a lot is it's hard for people to navigate just by walking our community to the places they want to go, like Boone Tavern and then down to Old Town. So this helps to connect that, bring that some connectivity into the traveling around of tourists and things. So we would have to add an additional employee, and that would be in the budget as well. So that would be something that would be in the next budget, 24-25.
And then put the insurance on it and then this lot to it, okay?
There sure is, yes. And that's all been discussed with the Tourism Commission as well.
Teresa?
And it'll be housed where?
Donna, do you have an answer for that? I'm like, Donna, you have to be here because they're going to get to a good question that I don't know the answer to.
Thank you, Teresa. The trolley that we have selected will not have the exterior wood on the outside of it anywhere, so it does not have to be housed interior anywhere for the wear and tear on all of that. So we have a designated parking spot in Old Town in front of the Welcome Center that is for bus parking as well. So we do have parking there, plus we have Public Works that we have parking that can be stored and locked in fenced areas there as well. And if I could just go back to one question with Jerry, Mr. Little, we started out on this trolley budget about 2 or 3 years ago, and we originally started out looking to do a used trolley, and we could not find anything under $180,000 for a used trolley. So from August of last year to October, we started investigating buying a custom trolley the way we wanted it, with the things already on it and a 5-year warranty with that and so forth. So that was October, so by January, we approved through the commissioner's tourism budget to purchase a new trolley at that maximum amount.
Jerry?
Where you buy a new trolley at?
This is Wisconsin.
And then if the warranty, who warranties it then? You said 5 years?
It is through Ford.
Oh, okay. So you take it, okay. That answers my question.
Okay.
Other discussion on the motion? Steve?
From a time sensitivity perspective, is this time sensitive? Could we talk about this? $75,000 is a lot of money to just say, for me. I'm a little bit obsessive about it, but I would like to look at, I know you've worked on this for 3 years, and I fully respect that you all have as a commission, and I fully understand that. I haven't, and I don't think any of us have talked about that for 3 years. So I would really like to look at it, and perhaps, again, we're already going to be having a work session. Maybe we should add that to the agenda. If we could talk about why we decided to add $75,000 to it. We don't have a great track record with trolleys. We haven't had one in a while because the one we bought broke down. And 5 years isn't a long time if it's $225,000. I just would like to have a bigger discussion with that than just straight.
And the reason why if we skipped that process is because this purchase was approved in this budget. It's just that it turns out that it's more. So that, I know that we go through, so I know, I understand. I'm just letting you know why. I mean, because we found out that, this group, I wasn't a part of that discovery, found out that they couldn't do what they wanted to do with the money that was allotted to them. So the discussion was had before, but yes, totally fine to add that to a work session. That'd be just fine.
And also, if we do have that work session, I'd like to know what the total cost of it is. The total cost, the 2 1/4 is for the bus, and then the insurance and the driver, and I'd like to know what the total is.
We could do that. And just to be fair, that was added into the budget as well at one point. So we did have kind of these discussions. Yep.
It was, along with the driver.
Yep,
We
that was
included
all,
in
that's
that in
already
the
been
budget
budgeted
last
for.
year.
So
we had
that's
the-
included
the
in your budget.
payroll
Fully aware.
person.
$75,000 is a lot of money. So do we need to vote to table this then, since it's already on the floor?
I think your motion would be to postpone indefinitely until a work session could be had. If you want to make a motion like that, I would accept that.
I would make that motion.
Is there a second? Second by Jim Davis. Any discussion on the motion to postpone indefinitely pending a work session? Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to postpone the vote until there's a work session, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries, and we'll add that to the work session and have, try to have a dual-purpose work session. Make the most use of our time. Thank you all. Rose,
Thank you. That's all that I have, so I could take any questions that you have.
questions for the city administrator? Seeing none, Rose, thank you.
Hey, thank you so much.
I will add that we had mailed in comments tonight, public comment, people that could not be here. So Rose has printed copies of those and gave them to you for where you can read them. Moving forward, we'll go to mayor's comments. I have just a couple of things. Rose reminded me in her report with the parks information that April is also Autism Awareness Month. So I know last year, it seems like we had City Hall lit up in blue for autism awareness, and I'll see if I can get our codes and planning staff to do that. We can't do that anymore, the lights aren't working. We'll do something blue, but just keep that in mind that it is Autism Awareness Month. And then the second item I had was to note that our fire department assisted in a serious fire in downtown Mount Vernon today. So it was in their downtown business district. So everybody, if you know anybody in Mount Vernon, you might reach out to them, offer your moral support or any help that you might be able to give them, and keep your folks in Mount Vernon and their downtown businesses in your thoughts and prayers. That's all I have. Next, we'll move to council comments and begin with Jim Davis.
Thank you, Donna, for your report. And if you do get this trolley, I find some place to keep it inside, because if it's left down in front of the Welcome Center or out in the weather during bad cold weather, it needs to be in. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Teresa Sanders. Teresa.
Thanks to everybody for being here.
Thank you, Teresa. Katie Starsman.
Thanks. Thank you to Mr. West, who's a commissioner on tourism, for that really great work session we had earlier talking about low speed vehicle ordinance. That I can tell that you all have put so much research and thought into that, and it really shows, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us so it's easier for us to make a decision, so thank you. Thanks to everybody who came and spoke tonight. I really appreciate hearing from you all, as well as the other folks who sent emails and phone calls. And I share Steve's confusion about why we're reviewing this again. And I also, someone said, it might have even been Allie Blair when we were talking earlier about when she was voicing her concerns with me over the phone, that we keep calling it city property, it is city property, it's taxpayer property, you know. And I think that the voter referendum, while it was referring to alcohol sales in the city, I think it does demonstrate a pretty clear will of the people. And I also think that I have a lot of faith in the attorneys we pay a lot of money to protect us from any legal jeopardy. And I hope that the work session that we have is not scheduled for this coming Tuesday, because I'll be at Tasty Tuesdays in Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Next, we'll move to Jerry Little. Jerry.
I just got a couple of things. I want to thank Bill West for the report he gave us. I'm going to call it the golf course ordinance. Everybody will understand that better than they'll whatever, okay? And Donna, thank you for your good report. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Jerry. Steve Cottle.
This seems like 2 hours ago, but if anybody wants to talk about the CSEP part and the funding of that and how that looks like, I'm happy to talk to anybody about that. It's really confusing, and I've had a lot of conversations with people about why are we doing this. It's why would the county put that in place? What have we been doing for the last 30, 40 years that we've gotten CSEP dollars? It's over 30, as the mayor pointed out there too. This is not for buying new police cars and fire apparatus. It's not to buy equipment specifically for the city of Berea or the county or Richmond. It's really about the radios and the county emergency management system. So I say all that to say, if anybody wants to talk about it from a finance and budget perspective, I'm happy to talk about it with anybody and call, and we can go over and think about. I can sort of explain how we got here, how things have changed in my 10 years, and what the landline tax versus cell phone tax, local versus state, how we've gotten here. So that's all I was just going to offer. If anybody wants to talk about that, please call me.
Hold on just a minute.
I may regret saying that out loud.
Steve, you might want to talk about, we're going to a basic level. You want to, it won't be the, I dare say just a little.
Yeah, so I think the confusing part for people is what is being proposed, what is being looked at from a county perspective, and it's going to be a flat. They're looking at doing a flat fee per parcel, and there are different. Once you get to more doors, more square footage, that changes. But everybody has a base amount. When we went from having landlines to these, it's very confusing for people because the first thing everybody that I talk to about it says is, "Well, just I'm paying a tax on my cell phone." You are paying a tax on your cell phone, and it doesn't come locally; it goes to the state. And I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 27 cents that you get per month locally for the taxes that are put on your cell phone. It's $3.50 that goes straight to your local government emergency management to pay for things like 911 infrastructure. So it's a really difficult thing. And the other side of that coin is that everybody always says, well, just change that. We can't. That's a state law. That's a state ordinance. And so I commend the work done by Rose and the entire body. This is a really difficult task that there's not a great answer to. It's not an easy answer, and it's not one that anybody's going to be happy about. It's just not. And so I think what they've come up with, and Jerry's talking about the flat fee that is for everyone, so that it all goes to this emergency management operation. And we've been very fortunate that we've definitely lived in the land of milk and honey in terms of money for emergency management. Now, at the cost of living next to probably some of the deadliest substances in the world. But it is for our operation of emergency management. We've been very fortunate. But my offer still stands, even though I explained it. If anybody wants to talk about it more, feel free to call me.
Can I add one thing?
Without objection, we'll come back to Jerry.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Jerry. Okay. Nobody objects.
The only thing I want to say, like Steve said, the level we've had has been the Cadillac or the Rolls Royce level with the money that C-STEP had. Now, everything's got a financial end to it, and we're going to try to come down to a Chevrolet level now. So that we've cut out. They won't be as much stuff, but we'll still be safe. There won't be a number of tires we've got,
and that's why you've seen the sirens change. That was work that we started 6-7 years ago. And I feel like I'm breaking all the Robert's rules, and I apologize, Mayor. But that's why, and I've seen a lot of complaints about that. These new towers are terrible. I can't hear them in my house anymore. You're right; they aren't the same. I don't know that they're terrible, but they're more akin to what other municipalities have, where you have one per zone. You're only supposed to be able to hear them if you're outside, not inside. Used to, I remember, basically, it didn't matter where you were, behind brick walls, concrete walls, in a basement, you could hear the sirens in Madison County, and they would lovingly tell you exactly why they were going off. Those days are gone, and we're going to a more sensible system that is more comparable, and that again is the great work of the body who's looked at that. So we're making sure that we're being much more fiscally responsible. And anyway, if anybody wants to talk more about it, I want to turn this off now.
Thank you, Steve. And next we'll move to the person who's been patiently waiting, Cora Jane Wilson. Cora Jane.
I'm good, I promise. I just thank everybody for being here. Donna, that was a great report. Thank you for all you do. I know that, we get people at the mall that sees our signs off the interstate and things, and I appreciate everything you all do. And my thing to the C-STEP would be, how important is it when you make a 911 call that someone answers that phone if you have a family member down or a child sick or had a wreck, how important is it to dial 911? That's what CSEP's all about. And if you have to use it one time for a family member that maybe is having a heart attack or whatever, it would be worth $50 a year if, you know, whatever the amount. I don't know the amount, I just threw that out there, but it would well be worth whatever amount if it saves someone's life. That's all I have. Y'all have a safe evening.
Thank you, Cora Jane. And for the last word, Ronnie Terrell. Ronnie.
I like to hear about CSEP. No comment.
Some things never change. You finished, Ronnie? All right, good. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? By
So
Cora
moved.
Jane Wilson and a second by Steve Cottle. All in favor of the motion to adjourn?